Vince Lombardi once said, strive for perfection, settle for excellence. I guess Lion King 2 Simba's Pride strived to be as good as The Lion King and settled for that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
He lives in you. We are one.
Roar! Work with me!
The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam and welcome back to my road to Mufasa in honor of Mufasa the Lion King coming to theaters in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be covering every Lion King movie released. I've already covered the first Lion King last week. Check the video out up in the eye in the right hand corner if you are so inclined. But for now, let's take a look at the only, as far as I'm aware, and I know I'm going to be talking about Lion King 1.5 next week, but that's in a kind of a weird fandom zone of like, is it a sequel? Is it not? This is the only true sequel to The Lion King that I know of, and that is The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride. This was directed by Daryl Rooney, and he was known best for directing this, Mulan 2, and working on the animations for Tron, the original one. It tells the story of Simba and Nala, who have taken over Pride Rock and rule over it with equal grace to all animals in the Pride lands. Their daughter Kiara is growing up, and soon she, being Kiara, meets and falls in love with a lion named Kovu. However, Kovu is the last descendant of somebody named Scar. You may have heard of him. And so, in turn, there's a bit of a divide there. And so, it is up to Kiara and Kovu to show that their love is in fact real, all while staving off Simba and Kovu's mother, who is intent on taking Pride Rock in Scar's name. As I talked about in my Lion King video, that was representative of Disney at the very height of their powers. During the Disney Renaissance, the greatest period of creativity that that studio ever had, that was the height. They never got there again. And so a sequel is automatically going to be at a bit of a disadvantage, and it's even worse when you consider that this was a direct-to-video Disney sequel, and those have a bit of a reputation of being pretty bad, all things considered. But I went into it with an open mind, and I can safely say that the movie's not as good as the first Lion King, but it's still better than I was expecting, and it's honestly very enjoyable. The absolute biggest compliment that I could give to this movie is that it moves the story forward. It takes what we know about these characters and expands upon them and gives them new challenges. I love that. I'm glad they didn't recycle The Lion King, but with Simba's daughter. I'm glad they didn't do that. They pull from a different Shakespeare story. Instead of Hamlet, they do the Romeo and Juliet thing. And it took me like 20 minutes to figure out that this was going to be Romeo and Juliet, but I didn't care. I thought it was pretty well handled. Even though it's direct to video, the animation is still rock solid. Couple wonky shots here and there, but it's just like blink and you'll miss them. The animation is still pretty good, and I love how most of the cast, the original cast, returned for this one. Matthew Broderick is back as Simba. He's great. But we've got new additions, including Neve Campbell voicing Kiara, and she's great. I mean, it's Neve Campbell. Like, you can't go wrong there. My favorite part of the movie was Kovu, voiced by Jason Marsden, and I had to look up who this voice was because I swear I thought I had heard the voice somewhere, and as it turns out, Jason Marsden voiced Haku in the English dub of Spirited Away. He was also Max Goof in the Goof Troop and a Goofy movie, so he's got some pretty good voice acting credits under his belt. And Kovu was the most interesting part of the movie for me because in my research, come to find out, he was supposed to be Scar's son, which would have meant that he and Kiara would have been cousins, and they would have fallen in love with each other, and it just, yeah, that would not have been great. But they cut it, and they only made Kovu sort of kind of related to Scar, not a direct descendant, which was the better play. My one knock against Kovu, though, is that they go a little too liberal with the Scar imagery. They literally give him a scar at a certain point in the movie. Like, the only thing that was missing was Robin Williams popping out like, even God's going, do you get it? Like, we get it. Kovu is meant to be the Scar avatar, and ergo, in the case of Simba, not to be trusted. But I am surprised to say that the movie doesn't go too deep into the Scar bag, and they try and let Kovu be his own character. I did appreciate that. Timon and Pumbaa do their Timon and Pumbaa things. They actually got the biggest laugh out of me when facing off against a couple of lionesses from Kovu's tribe. Uh, Timon basically cocks Pumbaa's tail like a gun. Is like, who wants some? Is like, it's gonna be a weapons grade fart on all the lionesses, and the lionesses run away. I'm 27 years old and I'm still laughing at fart jokes. I mean, what do you want from me? If you go into this thinking that this is going to be as good as the original Lion King, you will be very disappointed. I was just expecting for this to just take what we know about the original characters and expand upon it and do a couple of new things. And in the grand scheme of things, the movie succeeded. I'm gonna give this a good rating, but a high good rating. Didn't expect to like this as much as I did, but I did. And really, I just appreciate the fact that they put some effort into this. They didn't just be like, it's the Lion King, slap the title on the VHS, move those clamshells. Like, no, they didn't do that. They actually tried. And in that respect, I respect that. That being said, though, and I know I'm probably whistling past the graveyard, but here goes. We need a Lion King 3, like a proper Lion King 3. I'm just saying King Lear is right there. Do a Lion King based on King Lear and thank me later. But what did you all think of Lion King 2 if you have seen it? Let me know in the comments. I would love to read what you have to say. And stay tuned for next Sunday where I'm covering whatever the Lion King 1.5 is supposed to be. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.